Hi, this is Joe Zaza with ASD Management, and we're going to now start the development section of our discussion about ambulatory surgery centers. And let's kind of go back to where we were. We started with the history of surgery centers in 1970 and the growth in the industry. And then we kind of talked about the pre-planning phase, which is what we call the pre-development phase, and how critical it is that these are, generally successes or failures before they're even open, and how we put financing together for surgery centers, and how we put the joint ventures together if it's going to be a joint venture with the health system or other physicians, and then how you develop financial projections and to try to be conservative and make sure that you have enough cash to open up your surgery center, because cash is king. As I've always said, working capital is extremely important. We've hired our architect now. We've got the money in the bank. We've got the partners in the venture. We've got our equipment planner. We are ready to go to start developing our surgery center. And the way I'd like you to envision this thing is building a house. So you're going to have a foundation with 4 cornerstones. You're going to have 4 walls, and you're going to have a roof, okay? And so the foundation is your operating systems, all right? So it's going to be your clinical and patient care systems. That's going to be policies and procedures and how you do patient care, how you do timeouts, how you do sterilization, everything involved in how patients are dealt with on a clinical side. Then you're going to have your enterprise risk management piece, which is your quality assurance program, your performance improvement program, credentialing, everything related to accreditation. And we highly recommend that all surgery centers go towards achieving accreditation, because we think it's very, very important. It's the highest standard that you can achieve for a surgery center, and it's very important from a quality standpoint. Because at the end of the day, we're in a weird business. Most businesses are in the business of making a profit. Well, we're in the business of making a profit because these are for-profit surgery centers, but we're also in the business of taking care of people, and that takes precedence over making a profit. So they're not mutually exclusive, but quality of care is paramount, and everything we talk about is really going to center on patient care. So going back to our laying our foundation here, we've got the clinical and patient care systems in place, and those have to be put in place during the development phase. Then we have the enterprise risk management, which is the things we talked about, performance improvement, the QAPI programs, credentialing, those kinds of things. The third leg that we stand on, or the third cornerstone, is going to be your revenue cycle management piece. How do you bill? How do you code? How do you collect? And how do you do that in an effective manner so that your days and accounts receivable are within benchmarks? And and how do you deal with insurance companies is extremely important. So we can do a great job taking care of our patients, but we also have to do a great job collecting money and being reimbursed at appropriate levels. And then the fourth piece is payer contracting, or managed care contracting, and working with the payers and developing a relationship with the payers on a regular basis to talk about certain procedures, because new things may be coming down the pike. When I started in the business, you didn't see total knees being done on an outpatient basis. Now they are. Well, the cost to do a total knee is a lot more expensive than to do a knee arthroscopy, because the implant alone can be up to $6,000. So it is extraordinarily important that you discuss that with the payers and explain why it's in their best interest, because a lot of times these are going to move over from the hospital, and the payer's going to save a lot of money because they're going to be paying a lot more at the hospital than they are in an ASC setting. But having a relationship with the payers and discussing these things with the payers is extraordinarily important. I believe at the end of the day that payer contracting is a true art and not as much of a science. And figuring out what you do at your surgery center the most and really focusing on those procedures with your payers is absolutely essential. So just to recap our development, during the development phase while we're opening the center, we've got to put in patient care systems, we have to put in business office systems, we have to put in a risk management program, and we have to contract with the managed care payers. So that lays your foundation. But this healthcare is a people business. And I've been doing this for over 30 years, and I was trained by an OR nurse when I came out of law school. And it was a great gift because she really showed me how surgery centers operate, and it's about taking care of your people. And our walls are going to be our staff, our surgeons, anesthesia, and our administrative team on site. And we've got to have the best of the best for those in those different areas. The surgeons typically are the ones we meet first because they're the ones who want to be a part of the venture. We want to attract a quality staff. We really need quality anesthesia. Anesthesia is a big deal right now. As I say, talk about this in 2025, their industry has changed. Their reimbursement models have changed. It's put a lot of pressure on them and put a lot of pressure on the providers. And then you've got to have a good on-site management team, and to execute the management plan. So attracting those people is extraordinarily important. One of the things that I really want to emphasize to y'all is that the staff needs to have a bonus plan, and they need to feel part of the surgery center. So developing a bonus plan to align incentives. The whole game is alignment of incentives. Anesthesia, the surgeons, everybody needs to feel like they've got a common goal. So it is what I call the magic of the surgery center is those first few months, that first year, you're setting the culture of the center, and working through alignment of goals is extraordinarily important. Which brings us to the third piece of our house, which is our roof, okay? And that's gonna be your governance. And that's gonna be the governing body. Now, I don't believe that everybody's gonna agree on everything all the time. But it's okay to disagree, it is not okay to be disagreeable. And the governing body is going to set the tone for the surgery center. And it's almost like, if you go to Jack Daniels and you see them trickle that whiskey through the charcoal, all right, it comes out, starts one way and it smooths out the other way. And it's going to be the same thing. It starts at the top and it's going to go down through the entire entity. But instead of a top-bottom thing, I see leadership as supporting. Rather than at the top, as supporting the staff and supporting the operational systems and supporting anesthesia and supporting the surgeons. And the goal is to align incentives, set goals for the center, and achieve a balance between quality of care and efficiency. And that is really what happens at board meetings, where you really focus on what's in the best interest of the surgery center. It is very important that the board members are able to set apart their personal interest and look for the best interest of the surgery center. It's their fiduciary duty, but it's hard to do. But many times that their personal interests are aligned with what's in the best interest of the surgery center. And it's important as management, in our role as a manager of the surgery center, to ensure that people understand clearly that they're supported, and that we have very clear goals and expectations. There's a level of expectation at the surgery center. It's going to be a very high quality, high touch facility for the patients, their families, the surgeons, anesthesia, and the staff, and that's what's expected. And anything less than that is not going to be, that's not the direction we're going. We want to be very careful that we weed out employees and people who I consider to be boll weevils. And boll weevils are a pest that got into cotton back in the 1920s and 30s. And we want to get boll weevils out of the surgery centers. So you might have an employee, I'm just going to use an example, who everybody thinks is super competent and all that kind of stuff, but really what they're trying to do is undermine the culture of the center and undermine management. Those people can't be tolerated. We have to have a system in place. We have to execute our system, and we have to create a happy ship. And you've got to be vigilant about that. And you have to have checks and balances on people to make sure that the systems are operating right, and we're getting the kind of outcomes that we expect. So to wrap up the development section, we built our foundation. We put our walls together with our people. We have leadership that is supporting everybody, okay? And maintaining the vision and the standard of excellence for the surgery center. That will bring us all the way up to licensing. Now, it is very important to understand that the way licensing works is that you pass your life safety inspection, and the state will come out typically and say, okay, the generators work and this place is safe to do cases. It typically takes 90 days to do your first case after you move all your equipment in. Then you do 10 cases, and those are normally free cases or cases that are done on a cash paying basis, and then Medicare will come out, or you'll go deemed status, which is kind of the direction most of our centers are going these days, to get Medicare and accreditation at the same time. You'll do those cases, and then you'll wait till you get your license, Medicare number, and then you can start contracting with the payers, because the payers, the Blue Crosses, the United Healthcares, typically do not want to contract with you until you're Medicare certified. So it takes 6 to 9 months to open up a surgery center. In the next section, we're going to talk about management of the center, but now we brought ourselves all the way up from pre-planning to developing the center, and now we've got a licensed, Medicare certified, accredited surgery center. If you have any questions, please email me at asdmanagement.com. Thank you.